Good evening, everyone. Today it's Wednesday, June 19th, 2023. I'm finally back. I didn't feel really great for the past days, and also the weather didn't help much. And that's the reason why I didn't post log entry for a bit. But luckily, I felt much better today and also yesterday for a bit. And I also managed to upload my content about Dice Morningstar, and I also put it out on Cult3D and Etsy for people that are interested to buy. And luckily, the Dice Morningstar got also featured as best designs on Cult3D, so it was on the homepage of Cult3D, which normally would help to boost the impression so that more people can see that. So hopefully, I'll get more reactions and sale from that. And today, I've done basically two things. The first thing I did is I did some small adjustment for my dice blunderbuss, and it was based on a couple of feedbacks that I received, and it was about this ornament right here. It was about this ornament right here. In the previous version, I only use glue for for the ornament to attach the ornament, and people pointed out that since it's not, it's hard to make it snug fit, and then there is a one of the entry screws inside. If you're gonna glue it in, then it's gonna be permanent, and people cannot, people cannot access this entry screws to disassemble the whole thing. And I think it's a really solid point. So um, something that I overlooked, and that's why I came up with this new version of the ornament that has arms like this. And the idea is, um, when I put this inside, the arm should then somehow lock everything in place, and that way you can easily take it out again if you want to access the screws. So all you need to do is like just put it like this and try to press the small arms inward like so, and then it will stick. And yeah, I think although the were thin, uh, but it's actually quite stable, and it's the grip is quite nice. So yeah, I think this is a good update, and I'm gonna upload this on Culture and Etsy so that people can also start using the new version. And now with this, you can always even using your nails to open the ornament if you want to access the screws back. And then all you need to do just like press carefully the arms to close everything back. So yeah, um, another great feedback that resulted to also an improvement of my build, which I really like. And the second thing that I've done today, which I'm quite excited about, is I tried to read up again all the notes that I wrote after I played test Cardtapult with my brother back then when I was home in Indonesia. And I start to, try to play it again, following some of the versions of the rule that I wrote down. And after certain consideration, I decided to keep it simple, because just as a rough ideas here, at the beginning I was thinking to create mana system to have like some sort of card economics and so on. One of the rule was written so that I use the dice as a mana, just like in a Magic the Gathering. You will use a land card as a mana to purchase your monsters or other card. That was like one of it, but then I think it only works if you have if you have like more than six as a card, more than six cards in a deck. Um, so after certain try and stuff, and because I I'm also keen to put this game out there as soon as possible so that people can try it and I will get more feedback about it. I decided to keep it simple and finally came up with the rule, and I keep it quite simple because you have six cards, and what I'm trying to do here is basically it's a turn base. For now, only two players can play against each other, so one versus one. And as you can see here, each player starts with six cards, and then each players will take turn to deploy, move, and shoot the cards. And then what's the core of this turn-based rule that I created is basically each turn you will have an action point, and then the action point per turn will increase depending on how much active cards do you have on the field. So if you have 0 to 2 active cards on the field, each turn you can only do one actions. By active cards, I mean it's like the card that you put on the field and then you make it stand. Making it stand like this, turn your card from inactive to active. So that's the idea. So if you have 0 to 2 active cards, so at the beginning, you can only have one action point per turn. And when you have 3 to 5 active cards on the field, you will have two action point per turn instead of one. And lastly, if you manage to activate all six, if you have six active cards on the field, then you will have three action point per turn. Um, I think after testing this out and compared to other rules that I tried before or documented here, this one fits better for the amount of card per deck that I have, which is just six. And I think it's nicer because then by doing this, it's just the game should run faster, simpler, and I think that way I can lay out the ground to build another smaller rule on top. But I think by keeping this simple, hopefully when I play this and when I want to add or introduce another rule, it shouldn't conflict too much. I'd rather keep it simple for now and then keep building up from that, then rather than just like making too many or create rather than making a lot of intricate game rules that depends on so many variables. And if and I believe if I do that, then later on if I want to create one change, it will be hard because then everything's already connected together. So yeah, that's the rule that I'm trying to put out there. I think I'm quite happy with this. Tomorrow I will just like play it one more time, following this rule with a fresh mind. And if I'm happy and there's nothing to change, I will start write it down and create a rule book. When I'm done with that, I will also publish out this deck box with some cards on my Etsy or Cults 3D. So coming back to the rule, basically what govern or what uh, governs each player per turn is basically this action point dynamics. More active cards you have, the more action points you have, or the more action you can do per turns. And then I'm thinking for actions you can do per turns. Basically, you can draw a card. It will cost one action point. Every action will cost one action point. Actually, I'm also keeping that simple. Drawing a card here means that you need to rotate the roulette and then pick a card from whatever number is pointed from the roulette. If it's one, then one. Take it from there. And after you pick a card from your deck box, you need to put it on the field, laying down. So it starts as an inactive card. sort of like Magic or Yu-Gi-Oh, that you need to tap to start use putting this in effect. Same goes with this; it always starts inactive, and that's considered one action. Drawing a card, that whole series of action is considered. That series of action costs one action point. Second action that you can do that costs also one action point is activating a card on the field. So you cannot put a card and then activate it at the same time because it will require two action points at the beginning. So yeah, you can only activate it on the next turn. Yeah, it's quite straightforward. All you need to do is just like making the card that you want to activate stand like this. So that's the second action that you can do in your turn. Um, Third thing you can do is to move a card. So I realized because you have quite an open field, and sometimes maybe you want to aim different target and so on. You cannot rotate or move your cards whenever you want. So I think you can only move your card. If you want to move your card, it will cost you one action point. So moving card here means that you can only move a card to a free space on the field, and you are also not allowed to swap position between two cards. Yeah, just I think I decided to do that to give a bit of layer of difficulty there, because moving around the card might be fun, but then I want to somehow avoid uh, type of people who will like spend too much time aiming and moving around. So that the idea here is basically so that I can make sure that this game, especially a turn-based game like this, can flow quite fast, and hopefully avoiding too much waiting time between players. And lastly, this is the trickiest one that I still need to iron out, but essentially you can also load and shoot. So here in this version, you can load dice. Loading means like you take the dice from your support card, attach it to the launcher card, and shoot it, and it will cost one action point. But then I figure out, if I only write load and shoot, then what happens if you just want to load and want to shoot next time? So for now, it sounds kind of janky, but you can either load and shoot, or just load, or just shoot. Any of this will, yeah. So either one of this will cost you one action point. Why did I write it like so? Because while I was playing, I just realized that I also designed some cards that is crazy, that has three launchers like this. So if you only launch and shoot, what does it mean actually? Do you need to like fill up all three, or can you wait? So if by doing so, at least I can keep it simple. And the idea here is, yes, you can load and shoot with one dice, or you can load all three dice and then shoot when you have all three. So that's the idea of that. Still sounds janky though. So if you guys have any idea, how do people normally write down such thing? Let me know in the comment section below. And yeah, so that's how we played. And then I think the goal is whoever cannot move or like do another action, or uh, have their monsters defeated first, lose. So I will keep it simple like that for now. There was some versions where I try to do a mechanism where you assign one card as a commander, and you need to protect it at all costs, because when this commander card dies, you lose the game. It's kind of fun, but then it has only six cards, and there is not much strategy you can do with that. So I think here is like, it's just like, with this new rule, I think you need to strategize of like whoever can, um, who is the fastest to deploy and start attacking the I think, how should I say this? After playing this for a couple times today, I think using this version of rule will somehow make you will somehow turn this game into whoever managed to deploy their unit or monsters the fastest and attack normally will win. But then again, there is a catapult mechanism here, so there is some luck playing as well, because it doesn't matter if you can, you know, build your activate all your cards on field, but you always miss all the time. It wouldn't also work. So I think I'm quite happy with this rule. It's pretty simple, and there's still some room for another rules to build on top of that. And last thing I need to um, figure out is the distance between the players. How far should it be? Do I need to like have a strict distance, strict rule of how far apart should the player be, or I can also just say like that it cannot the two players uh, cards from two players cannot really uh, be at each other, be adjacent to each other, or something like that, because it's too close. So yeah, I don't know, because I've been giving like a strict rule about distance. It's just not it's not really it doesn't leave a room for improvement, I think. Anyway, so yeah, that's the update for today. Sorry if I was if it wasn't clear, because I'm trying to speak while figuring out the rule in my head, so sometimes it conflicts to each other. Uh, but anyway, that's the update. So I think if I'm quite happy with this, and next step would be recording update about Pocket Dungeon. I want to introduce the rule as well, and potentially that will be the video for this weekend. Anyway, that's the update for today. Ooh. So yeah, um, that's the update for today, and I'll be seeing you tomorrow in the next log entry. Bye.